Spider-Man is probably one of the most anticipated games of 2018, probably right up there with Red Dead Redemption 2. But unlike Red Dead Redemption 2, Spider-Man is only a few weeks away. So today on gameranx, here are 10 things you need to know about Spider-Man. Starting off at number 10, one thing Insomniac really wanted to avoid with this game was giving us another Spider-Man origin story. We all know the deal, we all know what happens. Here, Peter Parker was bit by the spider when he was 15, and when you're playing as him, he's a 23-year-old college graduate. So he's been Spider-Man for 8 years already, so he knows what he's doing. We're still getting the Spider-Man and Peter Parker that we all know and love, but Insomniac is going to be tackling his early 20s. So not only is Peter running around and dealing with Spider-Man bullshit, but he's also dealing with Peter Parker bullshit. Trying to keep a job and pay bills and rent, balancing friends and family while also protecting them. This isn't anything new for Spider-Man. If you've read the comics, this is all stuff you've seen before. Part of what makes Spider-Man so relatable is that he doesn't come off as a Captain America type who's like a real superhero. He comes off more as the average Joe superhero. He's struggling with being an adult. So while we're getting an experienced Spider-Man, one that knows what he's doing and knows what he's capable of, we aren't really getting a very experienced Peter Parker as he struggles with the day-to-day adult life. And this isn't totally a Spider-Man story, it's just as much a Peter Parker story. Moving on to number 9, the release of Spider-Man is a lot closer than you think, but if you think you can't wait until September 7th for the release, then you're in luck. On August 21st, there was a tie-in novel release titled Spider-Man Hostile Takeover that takes place before the game and starts to build up the world a bit. We learn that Mary Jane already works for the Daily Bugle and that she's a bit obsessed with covering all of Kingpin's nonsense, which I guess sets up you playing as her in what seems to be stealth parts. I guess you're sneaking around a Kingpin hideout or something. It also touches upon Spider-Man and Kingpin's relationship. It seems that they've had a good amount of run-ins in the past, so Fisk really doesn't like Spidey, and I'm sure we'll hear all about it in the game. The book also references other heroes existing in the universe, such as Daredevil, Doctor Strange, and the Avengers. Everything I've seen so far about this book actually seems really cool, and it seems like it's definitely worth checking out. And at number 8, it seems that really good photo modes are becoming somewhat of a trend with PlayStation 4 exclusives. Photo modes have obviously been around for quite some time now, but when a PS4 exclusive game launches, my Twitter feed gets flooded with amazing screenshots. I think it was Uncharted 4 that kind of really kicked off the trend of big PS4 exclusives getting really good fleshed out photo modes. Horizon Zero Dawn and Shadow of the Colossus are other ones that just had so many beautiful screenshots come out of it, mostly because of how good both games look. Almost any screenshot is gonna look great. And then we just recently had God of War that also had a great photo mode with really great screenshots coming out of that as well. Insomniac has already come out and stated that Spider-Man is going to have a photo mode, and they have joked that it has to be better than God of War's. I can already imagine some of the really cool mid-web swing screenshots we're gonna get here. Everything we've seen of the game looks great. Now imagine that with a cool photo mode filter thrown on top of it, and you know it's gonna look even cooler. Moving on to number 7, I'd say that one of the most iconic and important part of any Spider-Man story is the city of New York. Whether it be one of the many movies or comics, how the city interacts with Spider-Man and vice versa has always been super present.
Don't flip! Yeah!
Because New York is right alongside Mary Jane and Aunt May as one of the most important supporting characters. Insomniac made sure to make New York something special here. Citizens will interact with Spider-Man in different ways, whether it be throwing him a high five, calling out his name, or even stopping him to take a selfie. The fast travel system is also super New York, with Spider-Man actually taking the subway with other New Yorkers. Insomniac is also making sure to include landmarks from the real New York and the Marvel New York, so you get things like Radio City Music Hall, Avengers Tower, and where Doctor Strange hangs out on Bleecker Street. This might not be as big of a deal to most of you, but seeing that Jake, Tom, and I are New Yorkers, this is something that just hits us pretty hard. And at number 6, it wouldn't be a Spider-Man game without multiple suits to choose from and unlock. Rumor has it there are going to be 20-ish suits available in-game, with more suits coming later on in DLC. Different suits will also have different stats as well, so they aren't just cosmetic. There are some really good suits that are going to be popping up here. There's the Noir suit, the Infinity War suit, the homemade suit from the MCU, Scarlet Spider, Spider-Punk, and 2099, just to name a few. There's also a brand new suit that was designed specifically for the game, and it's called the Velocity suit, and it kind of reminds me of Spider-Man's stealth suit that he wore during the Big Time arc in the comics. Suits are actually something that you have to craft in-game, and we haven't really gotten many details on how exactly that work. But suits will also be shown in cutscenes, which might not seem like a big deal, but when games don't do this, it drives me absolutely insane. So many kudos to Insomniac for actually thinking of something so small. And coming in at number 5, Insomniac has come out and said that Spider-Man will not feature any form of microtransactions. Seeing that so many games have them nowadays and seeing how the majority of the gaming community feels about them, it's nice to know that they aren't going to exist here at all. But that doesn't mean there isn't going to be DLC. So far, Insomniac has announced 2 different sets of DLC, the City That Never Sleeps pack and the Heist pack. The Heist pack revolves around Black Cat and a heist, but that's all we have so far on that. We don't know if they're going to take the Arkham approach and let us play as Black Cat or not. Each DLC pack will have new story missions, new villains, and new suits. And seeing that Spider-Man has so many different villains and cramming a ton into the game isn't the smartest idea. I think DLC packs is an excellent idea because it gives a little bit more breathing room for new villains, especially if they're going to introduce new characters for somebody to fight alongside and against. And the fact that all of these DLC packs have different suits attached to them as well is really cool because Spider-Man has so many awesome suits and I just want to wear all of them. And at number 4, just like most comic book video games, Spider-Man will feature a ton of different villains. There have been a few that we've actually been able to get a look at, and there are others that Insomniac has just stated is in the game, but haven't shown off yet. First off, we have Mr. Negative, who's said to be the big baddie, like the main villain of the game, but I don't know how accurate that is, seeing that the game also features Wilson Fisk and some members of the Sinister Six. I can totally see like an Arkham Origins type fake out, although not as elaborate as one villain pretending to be another, but more of a simple fake out. You know, you get your expected Spider-Man villains making an appearance, like Shocker, Rhino, Vulture, Electro, and Black Cat. But then there's also Taskmaster, who I never once thought would pop up in a game because Taskmaster is just a weird character that I feel like doesn't fit in anywhere besides like the Lego games and Marvel vs. Capcom. But I am a big fan of him and I'm hyped to see him making an appearance here. It's been confirmed that he is going to pop up in a set of side quests. Norman Osborn is also confirmed to make an appearance, but he might not be popping up as the Green Goblin. Here he is the mayor of New York, and it seems like that might just be it. Although I can totally see something happening where he ends up being the big mastermind behind everything. There's also that mystery villain that we got teased at the end of one of the trailers that I'm really hoping is Doc Ock, and if that's the case, I'm going to lose my shit. And at number 3, let's talk about the combat for a second. We've been getting pretty good looks at the combat since the game was announced, and Insomniac is giving you a few different options when it comes to combat. There's a bunch of melee moves, gadgets, and different web powers that are able to chain together. Combat revolves around combo hits and using the environment like throwing buckets or pulling down shelves. You can flip, dodge, and jump, and that's important when there are guns. You can do special finisher hits if you get your combo high enough. Pushing and pulling with your web is awesome too because you can trigger aerial combos more often, and mixing in gadgets will also come into play. You can also take the stealthy approach and take out a few enemies before jumping and fist swinging. Different suits also have different abilities as well. Punk Rock Spidey is able to activate an AoE attack where the sound waves from his guitar pushes enemy back, and the Ben Reilly suit actually creates holograms of Spider-Man that will confuse enemies. Suit mods and gadgets are actually crafted by the player via a minigame, and you use the in-game currency to purchase said mods and upgrades. I don't know about you, but I think this combat looks super smooth and very Spider-Man. Coming in at number 2, of course, we'd be idiots if we didn't acknowledge the web swinging. This is a Spider-Man game after all, and thankfully it's very solid. Insomniac has spoken lots about it since the questions everyone has been asking, and they've actually clearly put the work in. After getting our hands on playing the game at E3, we can confirm that it does feel awesome, but it's not quite the complete physics-based simulation that the classic Spider-Man 2 game had. Thankfully, it's really damn close. Your webs need to have buildings nearby to attach or else you can't swing. It's completely momentum based, meaning letting go at the bottom of a swing propels you forward faster. You can also do aerial tricks, which might sound like something meaningless, but I really appreciate it. The more I feel like Spider-Man, the better. What also helps is the web zip ability that's similar to previous games where you can just zip a web on an object and pull yourself forward, but now it's a bit more contextual and going through certain things is often different and will speed you up. Basically, think of the locomotion from Insomniac's other game, Sunset Overdrive, but imagine a layer of Spider-Man swinging you want lumped on top of that game system. Plus, you will have upgradable abilities that will tie into swinging abilities, like apparently charge jumps as well. Finally, at number 1, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Spider-Man launches on PS4 on September 7th, 2018. It's launching with 3 different editions: the Standard Edition, the Digital Deluxe Edition that comes with the City That Never Sleeps DLC, which has additional story chapters that will feature new characters and costumes that will release sometime before March 2019. Then there's the Collector's Edition, which comes with a sticker, mini art book, and a statue that we actually haven't seen yet, so no one knows what it looks like. Oh, and that DLC that we just mentioned also comes with the Collector's Edition. Pre-ordering the game anywhere will get you access to the Spider-Punk suit, Infinity War Iron Spider suit, and the brand new Velocity suit, but don't worry, if you don't pre-order, you'll still be able to unlock those suits in-game. There's also the Spider-Man limited edition PS4 Pro bundle that's big and red and has the white Spider-Man symbol on the front and comes with a red controller that I can totally see someone not being into because it's kind of ugly, but I'm super into it. And those are 10 things you need to know about Spider-Man, but we want to hear from you, so meet us down in the comments and let us know what you think. What are some other villains you'd like to see pop up in the game or DLC, and what are some suits you'd love to see as well? As I'm sure you already know, hitting the like button really helps us out, and if you're new here, subscribing is a good idea because we put up videos like this every single day. As always, thank you for stopping by to hang out with us. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.